And welcome back. We are now in the process of creating our second character. Now there's going to be a little bit of trickery we're going to do because we don't want this character to be an exact duplicate of this. And I don't want to necessarily go about creating the second character entirely from scratch. I want it to pretty much be a clone of this character, but I might want him to be, for example, a different color. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to create a new layer. And let's go ahead and just rename this as Ninja 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just start by using just like a rectangle, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw that. Let's just go ahead and convert that into a symbol, and let's call this Ninja 2. And before I go and work with this symbol here, I'm actually going to go back to my original Ninja object. I'm going to double click and go inside, and I'm going to go ahead and just copy all my layers here. So let's right click and copy layers. And we're going to then go back to our symbol here on Ninja 2, double click inside of there, and let's right click and paste those layers in. And effectively what we're going to do is use these all as reference images here. I can delete the original rectangle layer because I don't need that in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and actually back out. I want to position this right where I want it to be in my canvas so they're roughly in the same spot. So I'm going to actually move him down just a little bit here. So he's a little bit more towards the bottom. So that's a good spot to start there. And what I want to do with him is also I want to go ahead and transform him by flipping horizontal. Just so I can, when I do my reference image, everything's already positioned the way I want it to be. Now let's go inside of that image here. And now that we are inside of this image, we can go ahead and get ready to start doing some of the reference it copying. So if I just go ahead, for example, and let's start with the right arm here because that's my top layer. If I just go ahead and try to manipulate this, you'll see that it will manipulate things in our original Ninja. So for example, if I go and let's say try to do a fill color, let's reset this to white just so you can see it. And I say, you know, I want this to be different colors here, so I'm just going to double click. Now, to edit this symbol definition, let's say I want to change this dark tone here to more of a white. If I click that, you'll see that it also changes it on the original Ninja, and that's not what I want. So what I'm actually going to do is just create a new layer right above that right arm, and I'm going to go ahead and let's copy this arm. So the trick here is we don't want to copy the symbol. We want to instead double click this, and we want to grab the entire symbol definition. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go back up a layer. Go to layer 2 and let's go ahead and paste that in. And we're going to go ahead now and move that roughly to where that arm is. And now we can convert this to a symbol. So I'm going to call this Ninja Arm. Let's see, this is the right arm. So let's do right arm 2. Since we know this is to our second Ninja. And you'll see we don't have that appearing here on our original Ninja image, which is great. So then, because I'm done with this right arm image, I can go ahead and delete this layer here. Now, I'm not worried about the different animations and stuff like that, because again, I'm going to set him up to do a different kind of animation. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that right arm out of here. Now I'm going to repeat that process for the other layers. So again, let's go ahead and move to the next layer. So we have our right leg, and I almost forgot to name this right arm 2. There we go. So right leg, make a new layer. And so if we look at our right leg, that is the front leg right here. So I'm going to go to the right leg, double click. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Go back up, go to layer 3, paste that. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag that into place here. Then once it's in place, we're going to right click on it, convert it to a symbol, right leg 2. And I can then delete the right leg. All right, now it's up to us if we want to keep the weapon in here because we may not want to have him throw it, or maybe we have a different weapon. So I'm actually going to just delete the weapon layer for now. We can always add one in later if we need to. But let's go ahead and continue this process now for the rest of the different body pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. And I want you to go ahead and do the same thing as we did for right arm and right leg, but I want you to do it now for the other remaining layers. All right, so now I've gone ahead and created all of these duplicate layers here, and you can see that they are each symbols. So now I am ready to go ahead and start recoloring this ninja. And all I need to do that, so for example, if I go to my head layer, I can double click that, go into my symbol definition here, and I can start changing these individual colors and tones. So for example, if I want to have this ninja, instead of wearing gray, I want him to wear white, I can do that very easily. And I can start filling in these regions, and you can see it does not affect the original ninja at all. And I can then use my color picker, for example. I might say, I want this to have just a lighter color here of gray, and I'm going to use that for these darker regions. And you'll see that when I exit out of this, we now of course have the start of our white ninja here. And so now let's do the same thing here. We're going to go ahead and grab these different color zones, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So you can choose a different color if you'd like. I'm going to use white here just because it's real quick and easy, but you're welcome to use any other color that you want. You can change anything about this ninja as you want, but I'm just going to make it just a classic white versus black here. All right, and now we have completed our ninja here. You can see that we now have a white ninja here to our black one. And this is a pretty good point here for us to work with. The next thing we're going to want to do, of course, is to animate this second character. All right, we're going to want to have him do something a little different, because if you look at our current animation, if we play this, you can see that the shuriken would fly right into this ninja's head. So I think what it might have him do is kind of duck, or maybe like go flat on the ground in some way, so that way he can avoid getting hit by the shuriken. All right, and that ninja star is right now going right to the woods, which is great. Let's go ahead and in our next video go into our ninja character here and actually add those frames of animation that we're going to need.